I just accidentally left someone a 2-minute voicemail of myself chomping on carrots. What is your embarrassing voicemail or pocket butt dial story? My so once pocket called me while he was driving. I answered the phone to the sound of him singing his little heart out to the radio. He was really embarrassed, but I about died of cute overload. Oh god, one of my biggest fears is my phone dialing somebody while I'm singing extremely loud in the car. Also, not awkward, but a couple years ago my grandpa butt dialed me while going through the drive-thru. I thought it was the most adorable thing ever. He had just gotten a cell phone and had no idea how to use it. I was so surprised when I saw I had a voicemail from him. It's just 2 minutes of him ordering a Big Mac, fries, and a Coke, but he died a few months later and I listen to it sometimes when I miss him. D. Just yesterday I was singing in the car, thinking I was alone, when I looked down at my phone on the seat and I'd been on the phone with my friend Charlie for over 4 minutes. When I picked up the phone he was whistling along. Classic Charlie. Got a voicemail from my dad. It was just the sound of him peeing into a toilet urinal. About 20 seconds of silence. Then goddammit click. Laughed my butt off for about a week. You've got to get one of those greeting cards where you can record your own message and put that on it for him. One time while inside one of those drive-through car washes, I accidentally dialed a girl I was kind of seeing and left a long voicemail. Might not have been so bad except I was going through an old childhood habit of making commentary on each step of the washing process. Here come the hula dancers. The rain, it's a monsoon. Those spinning Russian hats are attacking the car. Okay, time to dry off. Hot wax makes me shine. She thought I was tripping on acid in a laundromat. I was almost more embarrassed by the real explanation. I think that's adorable. I was in the car and decided I'd call my girlfriend to let her know I was on my way to pick her up for play practice. She didn't answer, and, thinking I had hung up, I began singing my song for the play, only I did it in an unnaturally deep voice for kicks. She didn't tell me about the voicemail until later that night at practice and proceeded to play it in front of everyone. Foreplay practice. In high school I had the very secure password of 1234 as my voicemail password. One night I drank too much and passed out at a friend's house. Fast forward 4 months and there I am searching for my phone. You can imagine my face when I hear my outgoing message. My buddy's voice. Hey, you've reached T. I'm too busy sucking dongs to get to the phone right now. Leave a message and I'll call you back when there aren't as many dongs in my mouth. I had received messages from everybody including my parents, my boss, prospective employers, females, grandparents. None of them had the courtesy to let me know about my outgoing message. I can't determine whether he said your name was T on the actual voicemail, or if you just used part of your username for the anonymity thing. I prefer to believe he said your name was T. I get random calls, text messages and voicemails all the time because my name is Aaron and I'm at the top of everyone's contact list. True story. My friend Aaron got tired of this because my phone's locking mechanism is funked up. His name is now Zarin in my phone book. This probably sucks for Alex. Drank too much, went home with someone while at the beach, and left my friend a 7-minute voicemail which consisted of me repeatedly hiccuping and trying to get this guy to take me fishing. You take me fishing, mother sucker. Undoubtedly, drunk dialing my friend, who wasn't at home, then talking to her mom for a half hour, during which time I confessed my high school crush for the mom. Accidentally dialed my sister and left her a 7-minute voicemail of me singing. Wait, singing doesn't cover it. Belting out the words like no one was listening, along with me having conversations with myself and laughing at my own jokes. Having conversations with yourself is a lot of fun, especially when you learn things from yourself. I had a job interview that went well. On my way home my phone pocket dialed my interviewer. Last phone call I had made, so on this particular phone it was easy, and apparently left him a very long voicemail of myself belting Shania Twain as loud as possible in the car on the way home. I got the job though. I guess you impressed them. My phone was in my pocket while I was hanging out with my ex. We start getting frisky and apparently I pocket dialed my father sometime in the process of taking off my pants. He heard everything. Coming home that night was pretty awkward. "High five son," he said with a wink. I accidentally left my friend a voicemail of me taking a crap. My excuse is I was drunk at the time. He came up to me a couple days later and just started playing the voicemail for me. It took me a few seconds to realize what was going on, but then I started laughing and said, "Who the frick is that?" He just said, "It was you. You left it on my voicemail." I then laughed harder. I once went to a friend's house to borrow her penis-shaped cake pans for a bachelorette party. We sat there for a few minutes talking about penises. She had 2 different sized pans, so there were some jokes told. Then I noticed I was sitting on my phone and butt dialed the Child Welfare Provincial Emergency Duty line. That was awkward. It was on speed dial because I worked for CAS at the time. Once, we were hiring a new employee. He seemed like a totally normal guy, soon to be married to his fiancée. Mid-interview process, his phone somehow called our HR guy in the middle of the night during a violent domestic with his boyfriend. Yelling, screaming, crying, glass breaking, accusations, "I love you," the whole bit. We still hired him, and we never told him that we overheard his gay domestic. But I think just the potential embarrassment of that situation is enough to qualify it for this thread. Twist, there was no boyfriend. This girl that I had a crush on, we were talking on the phone. I told her I had to talk to my parents, but I really had to take a massive dump. We hung up, yet the fate of wearing skinny jeans made me call her back. She heard me take this monumental crap. I mean, this was a sweaty, 30-minute crap. I went back to call her back and saw that I called her before the last. I freaked out, called her back. She heard everything, even me swearing. We dated for 5 months. Even me swearing, because that was the part that shocked her. One of my good friends left a voicemail while he was masturbating and watching hentai. At the end of it he awkwardly said, "Hey, I guess I pocket dialed you." That was no accident. That was an invitation. I randomly get a call from this girl who's never called once. We always would text, and I shortly discover she butt dialed me. She was driving around with her mom and they were having a nice conversation about what she decided her major was going to be. I sat and listened for like 7 minutes because I had nothing better to do, planning on mentioning how creepy I am in a light-hearted retelling of this silly accident. That's when I heard a scream and some tires screeching followed by a crashing sound and the call ended. Frick. I dialed her and got her voicemail. Frick. I repeated this 3 times before considering calling 911, but I got a text from her saying she just saw a really bad accident between some Prius and a freaking tow truck, so now traffic is blocked up and why the heck are you blowing up my phone? I just had a really strange feeling, like you were in danger. About 2 minutes of my son and I singing, badly, Kiss by Prince. The person I pocket dialed was a DJ and turned it into a 5-minute mix. It was given to someone I worked with and it made the rounds. Not voicemail, but text messages. I have sent some to my girlfriend only to realize they actually went to a good friend of mine that is male that I happened to be texting. They were not the types of texts you send as a straight male to a straight male friend. Oddly enough, this happened twice, a few weeks apart, to the same person. It was hilariously awkward. My boyfriend was out at a bar with his friends and I was at home. He accidentally texted one of his friends, who happened to be sitting right next to him, thinking it was me, saying, "Babe, I wanna go home." Was invited to a friend's house for girls' night. Said friend has a kid, and when I arrived it was already past his bedtime. So I decided not to ring the doorbell but to call my friend on her mobile instead and ask her to let me in. I dial, and then, nothing. I wait and wait for the call to go through, but nothing happens. Okay then, I hang up and try to get friend's attention by gently knocking. It works. She lets me in. We begin drinking. Shortly after, friend gets a voicemail and listens to it. She goes pale, swears, and plays it for all of us. It's some pretty loud heavy breathing, with what sounds like little aborted moans. Sex noises, basically. Well, Crap. We're all pretty freaked out, wondering about who the heck would do something like that. If they called her phone on purpose or if it was just some random perv dialing a random number. After much discussion, she decides to use the call this number back option. And as she is too spooked to talk to whoever might be on the other end, I bravely volunteer, prepared to cuss out some pervert for molesting my friend. You can guess where this is going. She hands me the phone, having already dialed. Everyone is waiting with bated breath, and my heart is beating like crazy. It rings, and my own phone on the table starts ringing. Turns out when I was waiting in front of the door, completely out of breath having biked there for 30 minutes and then climbed 4 flights of stairs, the call did in fact go through to her voicemail, and my heavy breathing sounds remarkably like really fun masturbation when recorded. TLDR. I accidentally perv called one of my best friends and then tried to tell myself off for being a dirty old man. I'm a girl. That sounds freaking hilarious. After a night out, myself and a coursemate left a voicemail serenading another coursemate saying how great he is and that we are the 3 musketeers of biology. It went on for at least 10 minutes. I have no memory of it. Not myself, but my old mom when she was reading the "hello, I'm not able to answer you right now" message for her own answering machine. When the message was finished, but before the beep, you could hear her reading from the instruction manual in a mumbling voice. Press stop, press save, etc for over a minute. She didn't understand until months later why all her incoming messages started with a giggle, but when she discovered, she was sporty enough to keep her welcome message for another 2 years, and it became the family joke. Not embarrassing, but the weirdest butt deal I ever got didn't come in combination with any missed call. You know how it usually happens. You open up your phone and find one alert for a missed call and one for a new voicemail. This one was just a voicemail by itself. No incoming call had been registered. I'd been expecting a call from my boyfriend, so I thought it would be from him. I called voicemail back, sat through that bull's spiel. You have 1 new message and 4 saved messages, which goes on forever, and then the new message started playing. The first few seconds were white noise while I waited for my boyfriend to start speaking, but he never did. I waited and waited. The absolute silence went on for almost 20 seconds. Okay, I thought, butt deal, what's the big deal? But just as I was about to end the call and delete the message, it shocked me suddenly with an ear-splitting screech. It was like one of those highly distorted screams they put in horror movies to complement jump scares. It had the sound of a human voice, but was staticky and ripped through the speaker. 2 seconds of a scream is all I got, and then it ended and the message was over. The frick? And no, my boyfriend hadn't called me that afternoon at all. I still have no idea where the heck that message came from. TLDR. Phone ghosts. Frick that crap. I'm never checking my voicemail again. Actually, I lied. I never check it anyway. A few years back, after a second or third date or so with a girl I had just started talking to, I accidentally called her when I placed my phone down in my car on my way home. I was in a great mood and "Don't Bring Me Down" by ELO came on the radio. I sing my heart out, of course, in habit when alone in a car shower like some do. The next morning I got a text from her saying she received a hilarious voicemail from someone and sent me the recording. The first few minutes sounded muffled and I was waiting to hear what was so funny. Hearing my voice suddenly, I knew exactly what it was and I stopped the recording. She still has that recording saved on her laptop. We are now married and have a 5-month-old daughter. I thank ELO for that. This was beyond adorable. Not me, but my brother butt DL'd me when his car started on fire. Filled my voicemail. I could hear him and his wife yelling, then her calling 911, and then hearing the police show up. It was awesome. Post it. In college I got a call and I could make out the voices of 2 girls I knew, but it sounded like they were far away and I couldn't understand what they were saying. I thought they were playing some kind of joke on me because I could hear laughing. So I borrowed a sensitive microphone and put it up to the phone speaker and then ran it through my computer to amplify it. One girl confessed to being raped at a party to her friend by a football player and said she wasn't going to report it. She passed out and woke up to this huge guy just pounding her, and the reason I was hearing this was that she'd pocket dialed me somehow. Whoops, I hung up and never told her I knew. Well, that escalated quickly. Things went badly with a girl who happened to be top of my phone book. Abby, take out my phone at the supermarket, and seems I was in the process of leaving a 40-minute voicemail. I'm surprised I wasn't arrested, burned in the village square for breaking creepy rules. I didn't even know voicemails could be up to 40 minutes. I'm impressed. Epic breakup conversation with cheating girlfriend. She's showing me text messages and call logs on her phone to prove a point, and somehow one of us hit the call button. I'm pretty sure it was her because she's the one who threw the phone down on the bed where it sat for the next hour, recording our conversation to his voicemail. The funny thing is, even though my girlfriend cheated on me with him, I actually felt bad for the guy when I found out what happened. She was so brutally honest about his shortcomings during that conversation that it probably crushed his soul to hear it. TLDR. Breakup conversation left on voicemail of guy she was cheating with. I remember when my boyfriend butt dialed me. He was bragging to his friends about our freaky sex and other intimate details. He is not my boyfriend anymore. Your boyfriend. And then I was like bam, 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 and then she was like oh yeah, oh yeah. My uncle remarried this lady and she turned out to be a real bee. Her mother was living with them in a brand new house my uncle had just built himself. He is a carpenter by trade. One day the mother called my uncle while he was at work and said that a log had rolled out of the fireplace. He told her to either put it back in the fireplace or put it out. Apparently this was too difficult of a task because she left a series of voicemails describing the situation that was getting out of control. By the time he got back home, the house was completely burnt down. I mean smoking rubble. To explain how ridiculous this is, the log rolled out onto a hardwood floor and the voicemails spanned like a 20 minutes period. I never GT to see that house. My uncle soon divorced that lady and she ran off with a good chunk of his bank account. TL Doctor. My uncle's incompetent mother-in-law burned his new house down. There are situations where as a feminist I feel it is appropriate to use the word C. My friend's girlfriend once accidentally dialed him and he heard sex sounds in the background for a good 5+ minutes before hanging up. He called her out on it later, and she got all flustered and didn't have a very good cover story excuse, so he broke up with her. Now she was a manipulative bee in the first place who'd play mind games with him. And we've debated whether or not she called him on purpose. Wouldn't surprise me if she did it to frick with him. But hands down that's the worst pocket dial I've ever heard of. My boyfriend once accidentally left our friend a voicemail of us having sex. The worst part is the friend then decided to play it in front of a group of other people. I use my friend's grandmother's phone number for discounts when shopping at the grocery store. One time when leaving the store after checking out, I apparently accidentally butt dialed, but then hung up shortly after. A few days later I get a call from my friend asking if I had called her grandmother. I told her that I hadn't and inquired as to why she was asking. Apparently her grandmother noticed I had called a few days earlier, and being as how I would have no reason to call her, she went into a panic thinking something was wrong with her granddaughter. I quickly put 2 and 2 together and explained what possibly happened. She said that this butt dial sparked a splash of phone calls to her mom and other members of her family wanting to know if all was okay because some guy whom would have no reason to call actually called and then hung up. I use my friend's grandmother's phone number for discounts. Instant upvote. Once, my friend hung up on me for being a stoned moron, so I called her back, and when it went to voicemail I did the only thing I could think of. I sang 99 bottles of beer on the wall. I was somewhere in the 50s before the damn thing cut me off. I can't sing that song. I always freak up somewhere. My friend's mother and sister-in-law were talking crap about my friend's boyfriend's mom, who is a total B, when one of them butt dialed her and she heard the entire conversation. When I asked my friend's mother about it, she simply said, well, someone had to tell her eventually. When my friend's brother was in high school, he left his parents a message one night to let them know he was at so-and-so's house just watching a movie or whatever. Well, not being used to the cell phone he borrowed from his mother, he promptly pocketed it thinking he had ended his call and went on to say that they are a couple of stupid fricks for ever believing him and to pass the bowl in his direction. Hahaha, dumb frick. I butt dialed someone while driving when I was listening to and singing along with Miley Cyrus. I'm a 27-year-old male. I butt dialed my mom once while I was at work. I ended up leaving her a 2-minute voicemail of a customer yelling at me about nachos. She thought it was hilarious and shared it with all her friends. It's not my story, but a good one nonetheless. My aunt went out to lunch with a guy she was having an affair with, and as she pulled out her phone to set it on the table, she accidentally dialed her husband's office. He answered, realized it was a mistake, and sat there listening to his wife have a sexually explicit conversation with another man over a Cobb salad. My dad got a call from my granddad while he was trying to use his phone as a torch while looking for something in the garage. My dad could hear him swearing and hitting his head on something. We still hear about it now, 4 or so years later. As soon as I saw the word torch, I went back and reread this with a British accent. I just started dating a guy and had never met his parents. We went to out a party one night and I drank too much. I ended up throwing up on the walk home and telling him to hold my hair back. The next morning his mom called to see if everything was okay and was wondering why she had a 5-minute voicemail of a girl throwing up. Great first impression. My girlfriend, now fiancée, but GF at the time, used to leave her phone under her pillow to use it as an alarm clock. Sure enough, we sex dialed a taxi company and it was a few minutes before we noticed. This one time I accidentally called my job while my ex-GF was singing to me. It went on for a good 2 minutes of just her singing and me laughing in the background. I butt dialed a friend of mine as I was running up the stairs into my apartment. This would be completely mundane, but every day when I get home I always have a chat with my dog. I ended up seeing the friend a week or so later and he played the message for me. All you can hear are my feet running up the stairs, me opening the door, my dog jumping around, and me saying, "Hey buddy, WHO's my best friend. You're my bestest friend in the whole world. Let's get the peanut butter buddy. Come on buddy, lick it up good. I love you Colby buddy." If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.